Okay, let's get right into it. Think about this. Inside almost every single organization, there's a sleeping giant, an asset with just immense power, something that could completely reshape the entire business. But for most, it's just lying there, dormant, completely untapped. And we're talking about enterprise data.
It's pretty much a universal truth in business today. We all know that data is the key. It's supposed to be guiding our biggest decisions, making our operations smoother, and, giving us that critical competitive edge. It's really the bedrock of how modern companies are supposed to run. But here's where things get really interesting. According to some great research from Accenture, only about a quarter of organizations are actually unlocking the real potential of all that data. So if everybody agrees on how valuable it is, why is there such a massive gap between what we want to do and what's actually happening?
Well, that question leads us right to the heart of the problem for so many businesses today, what we can call the data paradox. The very thing that's supposed to be fueling our growth and reinvention has, for way too many of us, become a huge source of complexity and honestly frustration.
I mean, think about it for a second. Data is supposed to be this incredible leg up on the competition, right? But instead, it's often trapped, locked away, creating this giant chasm between what a business wants to do and what it can do. This paradox, it's a major, major roadblock.
So why is this giant, or data, still sleeping? Well, it turns out there are 5 really specific hurdles that are keeping all that potential locked down. And what you're about to see is that these problems don't exist on their own. No, they actually feed into each other, creating this kind of perfect storm of complexity. First up, the sheer scale of it all. It's almost hard to wrap your head around. The amount of data being created is just exploding at a speed that our traditional systems were never, ever built to handle.
Let's just talk about this number for a second. 180 zettabytes. That is a mind-boggling figure. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's like streaming about 6.5 billion years of HD video. The scale is just astronomical, and a lot of companies are basically drowning in it.
The second hurdle is complexity. See, it's not just that there's more data, it's that the type of data we're getting is changing so dramatically. We're talking way beyond simple spreadsheets now. We're now dealing with everything from sensor data coming off of Internet of Things devices, to user-created data, to totally unstructured data from virtual environments. And then you've got synthetic data. That's data that's artificially created just to train machine learning models. Every one of these new types is a whole new challenge to figure out. Third, the speed has totally changed the game. When you've got bigger, more complex data, the pressure to process it instantly just skyrockets. It's no longer good enough to look at last quarter's report. The business needs real-time data to make decisions right this second. And you can see the struggle right here. Get this, nearly a third of executives admit their companies are not at all effective at using real-time data. That is a huge competitive disadvantage in a world that moves as fast as ours does. All right, let's move to the fourth hurdle, which is really a big shift in how we think. Value isn't just created inside your own company's four walls anymore. It's happening in these big ecosystems, which means data has to be shared with partners, with suppliers, and even with customers. But here's the reality check on that one. Only 12% of organizations feel like they're actually ready for this shift. That's a massive barrier to building the kind of collaborative business models that are defining the future. And finally, the fifth hurdle, and this is probably the one that's most familiar to all of us. Data is siloed. It's trapped in different departments, unable to talk to each other. And this is the one hurdle that makes all the others so much worse. This statistic is just wow. Over half of companies, 55%, admit they can't even trace their own data from where it's created to where it ends up being used. And if you can't even follow your data's journey, how can you possibly trust it, or share it, or get its full value? You can't. So, okay, we're facing these 5 interconnected hurdles. What's the path forward? Well, it really requires a fundamental shift in our thinking. It's a wake-up call to see data in a completely new light. So the crucial point is this. Businesses have always competed using human capital, financial capital, and intellectual capital. But now, we have to add a new one to that list. Data itself has to be treated as a core form of enterprise capital, and it needs to be managed with that same level of discipline and strategic focus. And this brings us right back to that central idea, dormant data. It's all that incredible value that's trapped inside those functional silos, all that potential just sitting there, completely underused, just waiting for someone to wake it up. The Accenture report really puts it perfectly. It's not just about managing data anymore, it's about rousing it from its slumber and releasing that latent, hidden value out into the organization. Okay, so how do we actually do it? How do we kickstart this new dawn for our data? Well, the path forward really involves a pretty clear three-part strategy. First, you have to break the data free. That means getting your marketing data to talk to your sales data, getting your operations data to talk to your finance data. Then you integrate all of it to create one single orchestrated view across the whole business. Think of it like building a really solid foundation, because it's only from that unified base that you can really activate the most powerful tools we have, like AI and machine learning, to unlock those next level insights and automation. And this, right here, is the ultimate goal. This isn't about having data for data's sake. It's about unleashing the creative and intelligent potential of your people and your entire organization to drive a whole new wave of innovation and, really, total enterprise reinvention. So as we wrap up, it really leaves us with one critical question to think about. In your own organization, right now, what incredible value is just sleeping, waiting for you to come and wake it up?